his fear of losing you now will override his fear of commitment, which is ultimately what needs to happen for a man to know that I need to make this next step and I have to make this next step and I will make this next step because I'm going to lose her. Men are going to experience some level of healthy fear when they meet the one and when they meet a woman that they truly love and desire and want to spend their life with. And I think that most women have this idea that a man is going to know that you're the one and he's just going to easily commit to you. And it doesn't work that way. In this video, I want to get into some common ways that we can, as women, temper a man's fear of commitment. And also just to ease your anxiety around a man that is experiencing some level of fear, and to let you know that actually, when a man does love you, he is going to have this fear of commitment. It is completely natural, it is normal, and it is a sign that he loves you. So we've been taught the opposite. We've been taught that a man's going to know you're the one, and he's just going to easily be able to move through the different stages of commitment, and he's going to be able to just give himself to you. And when that doesn't happen, it means that a man doesn't love you. And what happens with most women is we get anxious, and because we haven't learned how to self-regulate, we start to like control the situation, and we push a man away that really loved us. And we have this idea, thanks to romance novels and chick flicks, that a man's going to know that we're the one and then he's just going to easily commit. And the whole process is going to just happen very seamlessly. And while that can happen in a lot of situations, a lot of times it doesn't work that way. When a man doesn't experience any sort of resistance in the process of moving into commitment, usually it's coming from ego and egoic love. And a lot of times, and I don't like to use the word narcissism, but men that come on very strong, very quickly, are not coming from a place of self-love within, because it takes healthy men a period of time to validate their emotion. Even if they meet you and they know right away there's something different here about this woman, it's going to take a little bit of time based on the way that the woman shows up and carries herself, that it's going to solidify for him that, wait, she is the one, because like my gut was right, but also the way in which she's showing up is in alignment with what I'm looking for. Oftentimes, the resistance that I'm talking about is not doubt. If a man is having resistance towards taking things to the next level, the resistance doesn't mean that he's doubting that you're the one. Oftentimes, he knows you're the one. The resistance is coming from like his previous traumas, betrayal, and his fear of not being good enough and not being able to provide you with what you would need moving forward. And so there's so many different factors that are going on. But the reason I talk about men over a certain age is because oftentimes when men are younger, they're not prone to hurt as much, especially if a man is confident and secure, he's in his healthy masculine energy. He might actually not have had like previous poor experiences with women. And so it's easier for him maybe to jump into commitment. He also might not be functioning from the healthier masculine energy. He may be moving into relationships from his ego. So he might be also not moving into relationships for the right reason, but not because he's unhealed, simply because he's still learning about himself. And so he's developing into his masculine energy. We are always like on a spectrum of where we are in our masculine and feminine energy. And the key is to come into more and more balance. And that's like our life's work. We're always going to be integrating and balancing our energies. And so when a man is younger, oftentimes he might be coming from his unhealthy masculine. He may be looking for the wrong things in a woman. And because of that, he may end up in relationships that are not exactly right for him. And they're not like the right woman, let's say. And because of that, then they enter into relationships after, and maybe they have met the one and you are the one. Yet now, because of his previous experiences and what's happened, and he hasn't done the healing work, because a lot of men don't do the healing work. And so they're not as aware as to what is happening to them when the resistance is coming up. But usually it's because they don't want to experience the same sort of failure that they did in the relationship that didn't work out. Even if one woman is not the same as another woman, and you might be completely different from his previous exes, subconsciously his body doesn't know that. And so if he has not healed the trauma and he has not made peace with what has happened, or he's not even come to some sort of like analytical process of why he got into that relationship, what was the driving force behind that, and the demise of that relationship. And he's not like analyzed it, come to peace with it, forgiven himself. If he's not done that sort of healing work, when he does meet you as the one, what's going to happen is as you move into deeper levels of commitment, that resistance is going to come up. And that resistance is just the subconscious mind warning him and signaling him that you're moving into danger zones. The same thing's going to happen like it happened last time. And that fear is going to come up. And this is really normal and really healthy. And I want to explain why this is really normal and really healthy. First of all, we're all going to experience some level of fear when our heart tells us something is right for us. Fear is normal, and when there is not fear, oftentimes we're doing it for the wrong reason and it's coming from ego. So don't be afraid of fear. Like, we always need to move outside of our comfort zone, and when we're moving outside of our comfort zone in any way, fear is going to come up. When we're not moving outside of our comfort zone and it's not coming from like a heart place, it's going to come from ego. When there's ego involved, we are doing something for that dopamine hit, for validation, because we don't feel good about ourselves. And so we're rushing to that thing. And when we're rushing to that thing, fear is not going to come up because it's not even coming from an intuitive place. We're just doing it from a place of, I don't feel good, so I want that thing. And this is how unhealthy relationships generally form, where two people have not learned how to self-regulate, they don't feel good within themselves, and they don't feel happy. And so when they meet someone that is giving them that love and attention, all of a sudden, they just want to move very quickly into that relationship. And this is why healing is so important. You do not want to get into a relationship until you feel good about yourself and until you're in a point where you don't need the relationship. You want to be detached from wanting a relationship because you feel good and whole outside of that. Now, when you're moving into like a love relationship with a man and you're in this place where you feel good about yourself, he feels good, you both don't need each other, but you want each other and you're ready to take it to the next level because that's just going to enrich your life. So your life is already good, but being together just enriches your life. Naturally, the fears come up. And as I said before, these fears that a man experiences when he's met the one is not doubt. He's not experiencing confusion or ambivalence because you're not the one for him. He's experiencing resistance because of the fear of things not working out and of him not being able to please you. Men have a very big responsibility, or they feel a big responsibility in relationships for the woman that they're with. And most women don't feel or shouldn't feel the same level of responsibility that a man feels in a relationship, because that is the masculine's job. It's the masculine energy's job to just hold the structure of the relationship. And oftentimes, if a relationship isn't working out, it is also very important for us as the feminine to do our own healing work to make sure that we're showing up as the most empowered version of ourselves. Absolutely. But if we are doing that and a relationship is not working out, often it's the masculine energy that is not providing enough structure and safety and protection, provision for the feminine. When a man is making this decision, so let's say he isn't as healthy masculine in his life, he's a healthy masculine man, but he's feeling fear now of moving forward into commitment. So that could be engagement, marriage, any sort of commitment where there's deeper levels of intimacy, men are going to start to feel fear. This is going to happen for men because deeper commitment means more responsibility. More responsibility equals the like high likelihood of him failing. And especially if he's had a relationship or relationships that haven't worked out, that subconscious fear of not being good enough, of failing again, is going to kick in. Because again, men have a drive to make you happy, and men have like a deep desire of winning and succeeding. And so deeper levels of responsibility means more of a burden and more of responsibility for men. And that is scary for men. Men are afraid to take on something that they feel that they may not succeed in again. It's very, very scary for men to have a failed relationship that is like with a woman that they love, or if they put their time, energy, money, and resources into it. For them to do that again is very scary for a man, and it's very traumatic for him to move into that level of commitment. And even if a man hasn't moved into that scenario before, because when a man, again, hasn't experienced that it will be easier for him to move into a commitment with a woman, he's still going to have that fear of losing his freedom and losing his autonomy, because all men want to feel free. And if they're in a relationship with a woman, even if she is the most embodied version of herself and man feels more free being around her, he's still going to have this like internal pressure that he's going to lose some level of freedom. There's going to be restriction. So don't be afraid when a man is having a harder time with moving to another level of commitment. And don't make that mean that something is wrong with you, because when you make it mean that something is wrong with you or create drama in any way, that's going to make it even harder for him, because then it's just going to validate his subconscious fear. He's going to think, I knew it. I knew this is not something I should have done. Because if your reaction is very strong, it's going to confirm his fears. Now that we know that most men that are in love with you are going to have this fear of commitment, how can we tamper that fear, or how can we help a man move through his resistance? First and foremost, it's awareness. I always come back to awareness because that is so important. It's important to know about men, understand that this is like a normal, common fear that they have. Because when we have the awareness, we can move from reaction to response, and we can actually be in a healthier state when we're speaking to him. We're not coming from a place of ego. Because most times when a man is having this fear of commitment, his ego is activated, because the fear and the uncertainty is coming from the ego. It's a warning, like, don't go back down that path again. Remember what happened last time. It's just going to end up the same way, even though deep down he knows that this woman is different. Internally, his body is going to have this block. And so we don't want to make that block worse by us also going into our ego. This is why awareness is so important. And I focus on awareness so much in my work, because without self-awareness, you're also going to be operating in your relationships and in life from this reactionary place. And when you're responding, you're not reacting, meaning you're coming from a more emotionally intelligent place. Number one is having the awareness. The video is going to give you awareness. My book's going to also do that. And you can go deeper into the healing work in the course. It's going to give you so much awareness about masculine and feminine energy and like how to do the deeper inner work so that you're coming from a place of responding versus reacting. Second is accepting where he's at. It is so important as the feminine to learn acceptance, because you cannot get what you want from a place of force or pushing against something that you don't want. If a man is scared and a man is having a fear of commitment, if you retaliate by convincing him, by telling him what to do, by resisting in any way what he's saying, the only thing you're doing is you're going to challenge him and you're going to make him move more into resistance of not wanting to commit. Because when you're feeling a certain way about something and someone is denying that feeling, does it make you want to all of a sudden take their position, or does it make you want to clamp down on your position? It's not going to make you feel good if you feel a certain way and someone is denying your experience of why you feel the way you do. In fact, it's going to make you even more stubborn about your position. So number one is validating and accepting where a man is. Accepting where a man is doesn't mean that you have to agree with it for your own life. Accepting where a person is just validating their own sense of feeling. And you're going to have a hard time with this if you don't know how to validate your own emotional experience. And I teach you how to do this in my books and in my course. But you really have to have a certain degree of awareness of your own emotional compass, your inner child, and how to self-regulate. Because if you can't do this for yourself, you're not going to be able to do it for him. Like, you just can't give to someone else what you can't give yourself. So validating his experience does not mean that you are taking away from yourself. I think so many women and so many people in general think that when you're validating someone, you're making like yourself wrong and you're making what they need right. And that's not the case. Step three from this is that when you are validating his experience and you're coming into acceptance that this is what he wants, you're also validating and accepting where you're at. So this is where you maintain your own boundary or your standard and you honor your own self, is kind of how I would put it. Meaning, you say to him, I appreciate that you are where you are. You're allowed to be where you are, but this is how I feel about this situation, and this is what I need. And step four would be to ultimately walk away if you guys are not in alignment and if you're not able to be on the same page. Walking away is so powerful because in order to have something, and this is like manifestation and law of attraction, you have to not need it. So you have to be able to let it go, walk away from it, which really signifies that you have it, because you shouldn't need that one person or that one thing to give you that feeling. That feeling should already be within you. And if that feeling is already within you, that means that it doesn't have to be commitment from this person. You know that you're taken care of, the universe loves you, you're supported, that your person is out there. That if this person isn't able to give that to you, and you've been the best version of yourself, and you've done everything you possibly can in this relationship to meet the needs of the person and make this person happy as well. It's not just about you, but you've been an equal partner to this person. That if it doesn't work out, then it might not be your person and there might be someone else. And in letting go, what you're doing for the masculine is you're allowing him the freedom to choose if making the next step is the right decision for him. And oftentimes, when a man really loves you, his fear of losing you now will override his fear of commitment, which is ultimately what needs to happen sometimes for a man to know that I need to make this next step and I have to make this next step and I will make this next step because I'm going to lose her. The key is that you are always doing everything you're doing from a place of self-love, and you're not doing it from ego or trying to control or manipulate someone, and you're not coming from a place of an ultimatum. If you're doing it as a strategy and you're doing it from your head and you're doing it from a place where there's an ultimatum there, a man is going to know and he's never going to have a change of heart, let's say. Everything has to come from your heart, it has to come from your authenticity and your divine feminine energy in order to sort of influence some sort of change in him. Because you can't force a man to change. You can only be accepting of where he's at, but also accepting of where you're at. And then in turn, allow the universe to bring you two together if that is what is supposed to happen. And more often than not, a man is able to come to his own decision when he's had a little bit of space from you, that he knows, yes, I've had a terrible situation in the past, but she's not a woman that I want to lose. I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know what you learned. I love hearing from you guys. I love seeing all of your comments. If you want deeper coaching, you can book a call with me and I will catch you on the next one. Bye for now.